And we are live. And good evening, and apologies about the delay, both in the day of the stream and the fact it's a couple minutes late. I kind of fell behind. Jen and myself decided to watch Action Jackson this evening. And yes, it's under the Trashfire banner, but in no way do we consider this movie a Trashfire. Isn't that right, Jen? Jen?
I'm here. I cutting in and out. Sorry about this.
No bother, no bother. But is there a bit of lag on your end?
A little bit, but it's getting better. I think it's okay now.
Okay.
I think it's okay now.
I just would this evening we are going to be talking about Action Jackson, and Jen has her Action Jackson videotape there, and
I
yeah,
did.
it's essentially a blue collar James Bond movie, if anything. So
I think
we're
it's very
sadly doing this.
underappreciated, Marty.
Yeah, we're sadly doing this video because of the passing of the late great Carl Weathers, and yeah, it sucks because the dude was so talented and and kind of really um really fantastic actor and athlete and stuff.
Yeah,
He
he
was originally a
was a
footballer.
football player. Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah. He was an American football player. Jen, what's your earliest memories of Carl Weathers or Carl Weather movie you watched?
Actually, it was actually. I know most people it would be either Rocky or Predator, but for me, it was Action Jackson. My parents had Cinemax and HBO, and so this was a movie they played a shitload of in my formative years. I think I was like 7 or 8, maybe so, maybe even younger, somewhere in that area. I was really young, and they played this movie all the time, and I thought it was really cool. Maybe it just hit that right age demographic for me, and I just remember, and I would talk about it, and when I got older, and no one knew what the hell I was talking about. Like hardly anyone ever talks about this movie, which I think is a damn shame, because I think, as you and I were discussing, I think it could be put in the selects of some other great 80s movies like Commando and some of the other ones, the action movies.
Yeah, I think it just had bad timing on its end, because I just had a quick look up, right, of action movies that came out in 1988. In 1988, we had Red Heat, which was an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle. You
It
had
was.
Rambo 3. You had Above the Law with Stephen, I'm a stupid ponytail man, Seagal. You had Bloodsport. You had Deadpool with Clint Eastwood, not Ryan Reynolds, and you also had
That's a good movie too.
the big daddy of them all, Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. Just to name a few, the 80s, like you and I were talking earlier, the 80s, they don't make them like this anymore. They really don't make these kind of movies anymore like this. 1 second, darling. I'm so sorry about this. I'm just going to
No
leave you
bother,
for
no
one
bother,
second.
no problem.
Sorry.
But yeah, myself, the first movie I kind of saw with Carl Weathers was Predator. Surprise, surprise. Ironically, in connection to that, the guy who directed this movie, Craig R. Baxley or A. Baxley, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's R. Baxley, was the stunt coordinator on Predator, and he was good friends with Joel Silver, who was also a producer on this movie.
He
And oh, go on after you.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you in. Yes, he got the idea on one of your favorite movies, Predator. When he was on the set, they were talking about their love of blaxploitation and stuff, and that's kind of where the idea came from.
Yeah, it's essentially kind of like a modern version of Shaft. Would you say
Yes,
it like that?
yes. Very much so. Like you and I were talking, and you said that the 80s didn't have they had a lot of side characters, but African Americans didn't take the lead in a lot of action movies. The only ones I could find were Beverly Hills Cop and 48 Hours, and 48 Hours was kind of a co-lead thing. It
Yeah,
was much
yeah.
like Lethal Weapon.
If an African American actor, now I genuinely think that Beverly Hills Cop was a basically aberration of its time. It fantastic movie, but I think it's sheer luck, and obviously, uh, Eddie Murphy's charisma is what kind of maybe got the studio to push it. But if you were a black lead in an action movie, chances were it was a buddy cop movie. As I
It
said,
was
Lethal Weapon and the other one with Eddie Murphy where he gets released from prison. You just said it there.
48 hours. 48
48
hours
hours. Yeah,
with
him
McNulty.
and Nick Nolte. There was very rarely kind of a standalone um African American action orientated movie. Now, maybe there was, but I think
I
it,
tried to do some look. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I tried to do some looking while we were watching, and not very many came up. Now, the 90s did have some. The 90s
oh
had
yeah, yeah,
some,
yeah, yeah.
but 80s was pretty sparse. And I think that's another reason why this movie, I don't get why people don't talk about this movie, because this is just as good as some of your greatest 80s action classics, I would put it. And Carl Weathers is a great leading man. I mean, he's charismatic, he's likable, he's very well chiseled, which, you know, all the action stars of that time were. I mean, he's not bad to look at.
No, Carl Weathers certainly goes easy on the eyes for the ladies and the men. Who I'm
Yeah.
not fucking discriminating, but I like this movie. I definitely think it is. It doesn't go beyond the kind of standard action kind of schlock at the time, unless you factor in Weathers. Weathers is what makes this movie stand above the kind of cut and run. Like we had diehards, but there was a lot of action movies that came out in the 80s that were like kind of B grade schlock. A couple,
Yes.
you had the likes of Commando, and you had the likes of Predator, and you had Die Hard and stuff that had a key ingredient that
Mhm.
brought it above the kind of level. And I think Weathers was definitely the ingredient for this that
I
made it stand out.
I would too. Although I will say that the rest of the cast is pretty good. Craig T. Nelson, man, I didn't realize till I started thinking about it. Yeah, we know him from the sitcom Coach, but his movies, he usually was cast as a bastard, and I can see why, because he does it very well. And Vanity's no slouch either. I mean, she's very lovely to look at, but she's, you know, for a singer turned actress, she wasn't half bad. She was a little wooden in it, but she's pretty good. And I think Carl Weathers definitely kind of helps her out in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think they have good chemistry.
There is definitely good dynamic. We also have a kind of pre Basic Instinct, pre Total Recall Sharon Stone in this, and she holds her own as well. I don't think Sharon Stone didn't really take off until like post 1990, or is that maybe that am I kind of being unfair?
Yeah. No, no, you're not being. She was starting to pop in. Like I forget, and I've seen this movie a lot, and I always forget Sharon Stone is in it. It's a very early role, and she's not a big character in it. But you start to notice. I think people were starting to notice her, but the mainstream audiences, I don't think really got to know her till Basic Instinct. That's the one everyone when they think of, or Casino. Casino was where she kind of became the legitimate actress. But I think most people you say Sharon Stone, and they're going to think of the panty scene in Basic Instinct.
I think prior to this, maybe she might have been in I think Day of the Gun. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's about like this reporter who's going over to kind of cover a revolution in Latin
Hmm.
America, and he gets involved with another photojournalist, and it's sex and violence, and it was, but she was in it most of the time. She wasn't wearing any clothes, but that was kind of the biggest thing she was in prior to this.
Yeah.
You also have a mini Predator reunion, but again, it's
Yes.
all Joel Silver alumni. You have Jericho Jackson, Action Jackson's kind of sergeant or lieutenant or the boss, basically. He has to answer to Bill Duke from
Hmm.
Predator, and you also have Sonny Landham as this pusher who's like fucking, he's pretty charismatic as well. You have other Joel Silver alumni with the likes of Robert Davi, and Jen pointed it out. Mr. Don't leave, don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired
You're
as the
tired.
bartender.
Hmm.
Um,
And the
uh,
sergeant, and like you said, the sergeant, for the thing, he was also in Commando. So it's a bit of a
oh yeah,
Commando
yeah, yeah,
reunion
yeah.
as
Okay, I
well.
keep on forgetting Bill Duke was in Commando as well. This
Yeah,
Green Beret's gonna kick your fucking big ass. I remember that.
and
But
he's really good in it. I mean, like all of them are really good in it. Like it
I
makes the
do
movie
like,
better.
I do. I was watching the movie and I was like, okay, they're not gonna go with the trope of the angry kind of like fucking sergeant. He's showing a bit of mutual respect for Jackson. But then when Jackson causes a bunch of shit in the city, he's like, Jackson! And it's funny because Jackson's getting a letter off this other kind of beat cop. And he's looking at the letter, and then when fucking Bill Duke comes out of his office and shouts, the notes just there floating in the air in front of the cop. It's stupid as fuck, but it's like something out of a Tex Avery cartoon.
It really
And
is, or a comic book just phew,
yeah,
just going out of the way. This does have like but I also think this is a legitimate act. Like it's a great like I mean it's over the top action, but that's what we got in those days. That was very. I mean they don't make them like these anymore, and it's kind of sad. But it is a very much even though it has some humor, but it doesn't go as far as some of the other action movies of the 80s. It definitely has humor in it, like you pointed out. But the main bread and butter is definitely the over top action sequence. I mean, my God, we have fucking kung fu in front of some of the scenes with Craig T. Nelson.
I, it's like the action scenes are ridiculous. There's a bit where like we'll go into the plot. But I just there's a bit where Jericho Jackson jumps onto the hood of a cab, and the dude's trying to shake him off, and of course there's a truck full of propane tanks in the way,
Of course.
and this crashes. Boom! It's like what the fuck?
But
It's like
it's so incredibly like well shot. Like I forgot how good. I mean, it's over the top, but it is shot beautifully. Like I mean, it's pretty to look at. Look
oh,
at the fire and flames.
it's fucking as you said, the camera work on this is fucking brilliant. I mean,
Is it
you
too good for this kind of movie? Is it almost too good for this type
no,
of movie?
fuck that. That would be so. I think if I was to say yes, that'd be snobbish because a movie like it's up to the director and Craig Baxley, again stunt coordinator. Hey, cat dad.
Hey, Cat Dad.
Craig Baxley knows how to execute stunts. So he obviously knows how to shoot stunts and he knows, look, this would look cool if we shot it like this. So again, that's no kind of surprise there. Do you want to get into the story or do you want to talk a bit more about the action? Uh
I, we'll get into the plot. What? Actually, before we do, Marty, why do you think? Because this is a movie. Even people who are big Carl Weathers fans, this is not a movie that was like That's getting name dropped a lot, and I think it's a shame. Why do you think people don't seem to remember this movie as much? Because like I just happened to hit it at the right age, and it always stuck with me. But like a lot of people don't remember this when they're talking about his films. They've been talking about his films a lot because he sadly passed. But
I
that's one I don't hear kicked around much.
I just want to read out actually, hang on, I'll see if I can highlight it because this is a brilliant
Oh, that's a
comment
good
here.
comment.
You got Apollo Creed kicking the crap out of Coach. What's not to like? He's right. Um, but Jen, I I think it's a combination of fucking systemic racism mixed with fucking 1988 being an absolute fucking conveyor belt of action. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm clutching at straws, but I just think
I don't think
that
so.
like a solo, an action movie with a solo black lead in 1988 was never going to kind of push its way past the likes of Schwarzenegger in Red Heat or Die Hard or Rambo. For fuck's sake, Rambo was on its third movie and stuff. I just think bad timing, and it's sad because it is you have so many people kind of quoting Commando and people quoting Predator and people quoting Die Hard. Jesus Christ, Die Hard. Like I could, 9 million terrorists in the world, and I gotta kill one that has feet smaller than my sister. You could quote Die Hard all day, but
All
this movie,
day.
and it's got some, it's got some great quotes. Like, how'd you like them
Hot dog
ribs?
time. Hot dog time.
Yeah,
I love this quote.
it's 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 a great movie, and
It is.
it sucks. It sucks that it didn't get to maybe now the passing of the great man himself, Carl Weathers, this might get some traction and notoriety.
I
It
hope
should. It
so.
should have. It shouldn't require a fucking actor to die to get fucking notoriety. Like,
No, but that happens sometimes, sadly. But I guess the one thing, hopefully, and I don't consider this a trash fire, and I don't think you do either. But I can understand people making the argument that it is because it is very over the top. But I hopefully, if someone's tuning in tonight or whenever they see the stream, if you've never seen it, guys, it is a real. If you love, especially if you're harkened, I've heard a lot of people say they really miss the 80s and 90s action movies, and if this is one you've never seen, it will be a treat for you because it has all the beats. But because Carl Weathers is so good at what he does, it still gives it a freshness because, like, he plays tough guys, but there's a gentleness and likability. Like you pointed out with Vanity, if this was a Bond movie, he might have taken the opportunity to have sex with her when she was strung out, but he doesn't do that. He's a gentleman, and he's kind of, you get the feeling he's a gentle giant underneath it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Again, like Bill Duke with himself. God damn it, you've a fucking degree from
Harvard.
Harvard, a law degree from Harvard. You were like one of the greatest football players, like quarterbacks. It's like he's listing off stuff, and it's again, if this was a cheesy action movie, Bill Duke would have just said that, and the audience would have just had to accept it. But there's a scene where Jericho Jackson is at like a function, and he's talking to this dude about fucking law and about prosecution and how you can get certain people indicted and stuff. And then later on, when he's running after the tag, they tell and they fucking show. So it's not like we don't have to go, we don't have to take it by, for like Bill Duke's word that all this shit, he does it. He knows the law and he is athletic. Again, Cat Dad, yeah, exactly, Cat Dad. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. There was a saturation of action movies in '88. As I said before,
There was.
Die Hard, Rambo 3, Red Heat, Deadpool. No, not Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. Fucking Clint Eastwood's
Eastwood.
Deadpool, kids.
And Jim Carrey.
Yeah, yeah. Putting on a terrible British accent, if I'm not mistaken.
Everyone forgets he's in that.
But yeah, I think it's just the shit luck that it came out in '88, and he there was no kind of white buddy cop to fucking pair with him. It was like,
Yeah, but I think that's what makes it work. I like the fact that we get, a different because I mean, it's it's in on one hand, it's very much by the numbers in some, the beats of the story and how fantastical it is. But on the other hand, like, and I think it's all the performances. This does give it kind of a fresh thing, or they take old ideas, but they kind of make it fresh. And I think it's the performances.
yeah, this is cliche the movie. It's Carl
Yes.
Weathers that fucking
Saves it.
It's good thing Carl Weathers has those muscles because he's fucking holding this movie up. And in no argument, the cast is fucking wonderful. The cast is brilliant in this. They do their part as well, but it's definitely Weathers that makes this movie more than just kind of straight to video fucking action movie.
Yeah, he makes it way more than it should be just by rights of what it's on paper. He really does. He really adds that sparkle to the movie. I just it always puzzles me because people always, when people are talking about, even before he passed, when people would bring up Carl Weathers, people would talk about Rocky or Predator or even Happy Gilmore gets more talked about than this one. And I'm always like, but what about Action Jackson? And everyone, the one with the prince's girlfriend in it. And I'm like, yes, it's awesome.
Poor Vanity, Jesus. It was like, god damn
She
it.
became an evangelical too. She in the 90s.
I know. Do you know what? off with her. I'm not going to criticize because she had her demons,
She did.
and I have issues with religion. But if it gives you some solace or it helps you in some way, off with you. So I'm not, and I know you're not either.
No, no, whatever gets you
It's
through it.
yeah, 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 yeah. So the plot, the movie
The
starts
plot.
off right, and we're introduced. There's a that's another cool thing. This is another thing that kind of that kind of separates us. Usually there is kind of a bit of a setup and stuff, but we're kind of hit out of nowhere with this opening scene. Um Cat Dad says first the last action, then Action Jackson. She can't
Yep.
win. Um, the opening scene is kind of Craig T. Nelson's fucking ninja squad. They're like fucking characters from fucking G.I. Joe. They're like the dreadnoughts in fucking G.I. Joe.
It was the wig. It was the blonde wig guy that bothered you.
It was, and I don't know what it was, but I had it in my fucking head that Brian Thompson was the head of this crew, and he wasn't. It was some other fucking dude. So we have this innocuous kind of lawyer staying overnight with his secretary and a bunch of go on. No, you
I
go.
didn't
You
mean
go.
to interrupt you, but you reminded me of something, and I never thought about it much as a kid. But watching it tonight, I'm like, okay, the secretary, this blonde secretary, she's a character. I can't think of her name, but she's a character actress. If you know 80s movies, you've seen her before. But like, is it the glass imploding that kills her? Because like you just see, she kind of falls back, and I'm like,
No, she gets
exactly
kicked.
killed her?
She gets kicked. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that guy must have fucking, I don't know, crushed her fucking heart or something when he kicked her. It didn't look fatal at the time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. The movie goes so fast paced, but now that you remind me, you're setting it up right, and I'm like, I don't think that kick could have killed. I mean, possibly it could. Maybe it's like a deadly ninja hoi kind of kick, but I was like, she shouldn't be that beat up or dead, and she's really, really dead. And it just, but again, it kind of establishes what kind of movie we're in for, and it kind of sets up like, okay, guys, don't take this isn't one to take too seriously. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
Again, it's like when Delaplane, that's Craig Dean Nelson's character, when his hit squad comes in, they're like ninjas. They attack, they disappear, and you've the lawyer or whatever the fuck the dude is.
They don't really establish it too
No,
well.
they don't. He like gets out like a fucking 9mm handgun, right? Standard clip, maybe 10
Oh,
rounds. I'm not a gun person, but I sure as shit know a gun like that cannot fire off that many rounds without having to be reloaded.
and then phosphorus.
We'll get. Oh my god, we'll get to that. No, that's plausible as well. I just, it's just I don't know if it'd do that to the body, but
It looks cool. It's one of those 80s. It's one of those 80s and 90s action things where it's okay if it's not realistic as long as it looks fucking cool. And you gotta admit, a body just engulfed in flames, falling from a very high story building.
We got. This guy doesn't spontaneously combust now. Jen's jumping the fucking shower. Jen's jumping the fucking wall a bit. Jen's jumping the taxi like Jackson. We'll get to that. So these ninjas, Delaplane's ninjas come in and start fucking with your man. And like one guy's got a switchblade and he fucking sticks the lawyer's hand to the door and he's like begging for his life. And our leader has this rotary barrel grenade launcher and fires a round into the dude's chest. Now, my best guess or assumption is it some kind of phosphorus round because the guy goes up like a Christmas tree in a meth lab. I swear to God. He goes out the window, boom, backwards, and is burning. And the bodies are traveling at such a velocity. I'm like, that should extinguish the flame, but no, he's cooking all the way down. So I was like, it must be some kind of phosphorus round or something.
But Marty, it wouldn't look as cool if like the thing blew out from the thing. Like it's just fire. I don't know. I think it's cool looking, and I'm generally not
No,
one for these.
it looks cool. Does it make sense?
No.
Probably not. But so that's how we're introduced to the movie, and it's a pretty cool opening. It's like the audience is like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I want to stay tuned to find out. So then we cut to this street urchin, this comic relief, for the movie, and it sets up that this is set in Detroit, and he's looking for an easy mark. He's kind of like this kind of like scrappy young fella, and he sees this woman counting cash on the subway train. He's
On the
about to make
bus.
his move, and a cop is like beside him and just looks at him. He's like, okay, and it's him just walking through Detroit, and it's kind of showing us the landmarks of Detroit while also focusing on this character. And he decides to try and rob a woman's purse. Meanwhile, Biff Tannen and one of the cops from RoboCop 2 is like in a car. Ironically, actually, that guy was one of the cops from RoboCop 2, and here he is as a cop in Detroit again. We'll talk about team typecast. So he's talking to Biff Tannen, and they're shooting the shit, and they spot this street urchin. They're like, this guy's about to fucking, this guy's about to fuck up here, because he tries snatching a purse off a very angry woman who starts beating the shit out of him. And they're like, should we do anything? No. Well, let's let him simmer for a bit. And this woman's kicking the shit out of him. What did you think of that scene? Do you think it was good comic kind of relief, or do you think?
No, I thought it was cute, and you because and again, it subverts the audience expectations because like she's a heavier woman, but you figure out he's gonna take it, and I like the fact she's beating it over the head with it. I also like because during this we're also getting the theme song for the movie, which was done by the Pointer Sisters, and it's a cool song. He turned me out, right? He turned me out was the name of the song.
Yeah,
it is. That's the name of the song.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure on Americanisms or terms for prostitution, but does that term mean what I think it means?
Well, not in the context of the song exactly, but yeah, it can mean that.
Okay, I was like, well,
But the thing is like since you have Vanity, who was a singer, it always sort of puzzled me. Like I love the Pointer Sisters, and they were big, and they also, speaking of 80s action movies, they also did the theme song for Beverly Hills Cop. They were one of the theme songs of Beverly Hills Cop. But I wondered, why isn't Vanity doing a theme song? She gets to sing in the movie, but you would think that they would have thrown her a song too, especially the theme song for the movie. And always that puzzles me a little bit.
I'm like, maybe her stuff was on the soundtrack. But what had she reached the heights of kind of like, or had she reached the heights of being a solo artist, or was she still just recognized as, oh, this is Prince's side piece?
Kind of that way. Like she was really pretty and she could sing. Like I don't want to undersell her vocal talent because she could sing. She had talent, but I think people noticed her beauty a little bit more before they noticed her voice. You know what I mean? Because she was an incredibly beautiful woman.
Yeah, it is. You know what? You are right that she didn't get a headline track on this, but again, maybe the studio just didn't have confidence that she would have been the person to be the kind of the iconic theme for this movie.
Mm-hmm. And this was long before The Bodyguard. I guess nowadays it's second nature if you're going to have a singer in your film to give them a lead track, but this was a little bit before that, so I can understand. But I always thought that was, even as a kid, I always thought, I wonder, she sings in the movie, but she does. You would think she'd have a main song on it.
Yeah, she gets to sing later on, and I'd be shocked. I'm just going to double check here, babe. I'd be shocked if she didn't
appear on the soundtrack. I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does. It's just the big one.
Yeah, again, Turn Me Out, the Pointer Sisters, Action Jackson, Madam X, For the Love of Money, Levette, Undress Me, Vanity.
Yeah,
Yeah, she gets a couple of tracks. She gets a couple of songs in this.
she
Sister
does.
Sledge, Keep the Good Loving. So yeah, again? I think it was just the case that they were like, look, we're giving her a chance to show her acting chops in this, and we're going to let her sing, but let's not make this, dare I say, a vanity project.
You've been holding that back, haven't you?
but but no, again, I can kind of see why, because again, you're like, okay, we have her in the movie, we're going to let her sing. You know,
I
why?
get it.
Would you have preferred a vanity track or a vanity
Maybe.
song?
Maybe because the songs she sings in the movie, they're not bad or anything, but they don't stand out. And they definitely, even the movie pushes the theme song way more than any of Vanity Tracks. And you would think if you had, I mean, she was an established singer, like,
At
questionable.
this time, though, at this time, was she
At
established
this
singer?
time, she was, yeah, she was no, but again, you're right. It was more because of her association with Prince and her beauty than anything else. That's what that, and really all of her life. That's, she did other things and she wasn't talented. I don't want to sound like I'm knocking her, but unfortunately, when people think of her, they always associate Prince. I mean, they kind of came as a package deal,
Yeah,
even though Prince had nothing to do with this in the
yeah.
movie, at least.
So our kind of young rapscallion is taken to the police station, and the two cops are like, fucking, oh, you're gonna be processed by Action Jackson. And they're like, yeah, he's dangerous. Someone said that his mother was done by Bigfoot and he was the mutant byproduct of it. It goes a bit silly because the dude is like fainting.
And he does it multiple times in the film,
Yeah,
like
he's
every
like,
time he
"Ah."
runs in. And he thinks kind of like more of a woman. It's a very, kind of kind of
but
way.
but but your man's like, oh, just fucking freaking out and shit. Kind of
And then you see Carl Weathers' face and his smile and stuff. And yeah. And to me, he looks more just like a very authoritarian dad. Like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Hello, Brian.
hey Brian, how you doing? Um, so yeah, he basically the cops scared the shit out of the poor dude, and one of them, Biff Tannen, decides to fucking kind of flirt with a prostitute who kicks him in the nuts, giving the kid a chance to run off. And of course, he runs into the desk and a cop with coffee, and it spills all over the desk. And he's like, oh, and he picks up the nameplate, and it's like
It's
Jericho
Jackson.
Jackson. He looks up, and Carl Weathers is like, and again, as you said, he's not. He just looks like he looks like a principal. He looks like a principal, not even a dickhead principal, a fair principal who's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Kind of look.
Oh, these kids today. But again, you establish a lot of good comedic, and they're funny scenes, and they're still funny even today. Like some things don't age very well, but this is still funny even when we were watching it tonight.
It is. It is. I do think they go a bit
Overboard.
much with this kind of comedic character, but it's all it's all right. It's all in good fun. Um, we it's soon established as well that Jericho Jackson was a lieutenant,
Mm-hmm.
but because he busted um
Craig T. Nelson.
Delaplane's, yeah,
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson's son, not
Mm.
Craig T. Nelson, his son busted him, both him figuratively and his arm. He ended up being demoted to sergeant, and he has words with his partner who's working on a case, and there's a bit of animosity there, but
There, it
one
establishes. Oh, I'm sorry. It establishes it really good, but another thing, and it's sort of funny, but it also kind of establishes what family when he's talking to his sergeant about Craig T. Nelson and the son, and he's talking about that he's a sexual sadist, and if I would have cut my own, if I had kids like that. Hello, Creepy McGree. It shows again that probably Craig T. Nelson's family's going to be the villains, and it kind of tells us before it shows us, which I like. It
yeah.
kind of sets stuff up very nicely.
Hey, creepy. So unfortunately, though, fucking Bill Duke, Jackson's fucking boss says, "Look, I need you to do security at this gala that Craig T.
Man of the
Nelson's,
year.
yeah, man of the year." And he's like, "For fuck's sake!" And he goes, "You got to do this.
My
You got to
wife's
do
got
this."
a Parcheesi night, which I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. He's like, "Okay, okay, okay." So he has to go off and essentially work security in this fucking gala. And this again, you see him talking. It's he's not an Axel Foley. He's not like Axel Foley or Roger Murtaugh in that d- a lesser kind of movie or a lesser director would have played up the kind of fish out of water, um, black guy among white elites kind of thing of him
Yeah.
being like he's actually he's discussing kind of
He's
relevant
very
events.
sophisticated. He's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
just
Again,
a gritty cop.
yeah, he's a cop, and but he went to Harvard, he studied
Mm,
law, he's talking law to this guy. It's really fun, real fucking real kind of academic discussion. And then the
mhm.
guy turns around and goes, "Oh, what you think of our man of the year?" I think he's a fucking psychotic bass. What does he call him again, Jen?
Asshole. I believe
Yeah.
asshole.
And the guy's like, "You know what? I tend to agree." Yeah, and it's like so it's cool. It sets up Jericho Jackson as someone who isn't like this fucking stereotype or isn't this kind of like usual kind of depiction of a cop.
Yeah, he's not a he you get the feeling he's a little, and there's nothing wrong with being working class, but we've seen that trope so many times with cop movies, and this is one where it shows he's a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more, he comes from a little bit of a different class, you know what I mean, even though he's a cop. Or
Yeah,
does that
yeah.
sound
Again,
elitist? But that's kind of what the
no,
movie
no, 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 no,
portrays.
no. Not like that. It's just it's again. You could do the usual fucking thing of doing that, but they give a bit more depth
Mhm.
and a bit more. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, a bit more kind of
Dimensions a little bit
yeah
through.
to Weather's character, and I
And I
like that
think
as well.
Weathers really gives it too. And there's something about his character, and I forgot. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I think that he just really brings something special with this role. He's definitely an action hero, but he doesn't overplay that the way Schwarzenegger or some of your other big Stallone does. Like he's an action guy, but he doesn't flaunt it. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to. Everyone sees it, so he doesn't have to. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
and another thing I like with this movie as well is he genuinely does detective work. He goes from point
Yes.
A to point B, questions people. A lot of these cop action movies is we need to solve this murder, and then just has Mel Gibson driving through the lobby of the bad guy's fucking office and shooting up a fish tank or some shit.
Not that
Whereas
we don't get that too.
no, we do get that. But as I said before, the dude's fucking clever and crafty and stuff. And he already has kind of like a feeling that Nelson is up to no good. And that's confirmed when he gets contacted by a kind of former informant of his,
Mhm.
played by Robert Davi, who's saying, "Oh, look, um, Delaplane is trying to influence the car industry or the unions in Detroit to kind of take power or something like that." And he's like,
And
"What's his fucking angle?" One,
I was just gonna say, and another thing, like much like with Carl Withers, that they give this kid the informant, because usually the informant, he's just there to give exposition, to kind of move the story along. And I like when Carl Withers finds him in his apartment. He has not slept in days. He looks a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in a little bit, and I like that. It's not just they again. This movie, he could have gone the easy route, but they give it a little bit more context and subtext, because I like how his informant, they were friends, which is something we've seen before, but I like the fact that he's got a cigarette and you can say haven't slept for days and I don't know everything, and I kind of like that. It's a different road we go down than your standard action movie.
yeah, it's again they could have made him like some ratty kind of fucking kind of character or something. But they gave a bit of personality to
They
Robert
do.
Davi's
They
character,
give
and
personality to everybody in
yeah,
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah, and you can tell that fucking Jericho Jackson gives a shit about this person. He's like, put down the gun, we'll talk about it. He's like, no, you don't understand. And essentially Jackson kind of talks to him and hears him out. And as Jackson's leaving, one of the hitmen that it works for Craig T. Nelson comes in dressed as a delivery man and fucking shoots him. And
Hmm.
it's 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 kind it's kind of weird. I was kind of, again, it's an 80s action movie, but if you're so paranoid and stuff and you're like about to shoot your best friend, would you really answer the door to a delivery man?
I thought that when we were watching it, but again, we can't take this too seriously. Another thing I always thought, and I thought it as a kid, and I thought it now, is like he has a small package for him, but then he has this big box that he's wheeling. And I always thought as a kid, there's got to be another assassin in. I always like think another assassin's going to come
Right,
out of the
if
big
some fucking dude's gonna jump out of the box. This is
box.
a,
Yeah.
one of
That's
the
what I always thought. I always thought that
one.
was a missed opportunity because they have it all set up. I mean, and it looks like someone could fit inside that box.
Just a deleted scene with Craig. Send the lollipop guild. Send the lollipop guild.
That would have been
Oompa
cool.
loompa,
Yeah,
diddy
do,
dee
do,
doo.
do.
I got a fucking bullet for you. Uh,
Whee!
but he kill, he gets killed anyway, and fucking Jackson is still conducting his investigation, and he kind of Jackson kind of flirts with Sharon Stone.
A little bit. Like Sharon, again, like you said, this is very much in some ways a modern day Bond, or at least for the time, modern day Bond film, because we have a lot of the same tropes because we have Sharon Stone for a little while and we have Vanity and one of the girls, there's no room for two girls, so one of them has to die, and that's Sharon Stone. And there is kind of, you see that there's at least a friendship forming, like she
Yeah,
trusts him, and Sharon Stone's very naive, and I like her character. Again, she's not she's an innocent, and it's because she's innocent is why she gets killed. She says too much to the wrong person.
and again, Sharon Stone's character is naive, but it's
Not dumb.
not dumb. She like there's a bit where you kind of get the feeling that she's going to be killed by Delaplane's butler, and Jackson arrives, and she's like, "Oh, just in time. Can you give me a ride into town?"
Mm-hmm.
And it they go to a restaurant, and it's funny. Again, it's silly as fuck. But our kind of comedic relief is going to go in and try some shicey shit in this bar, and he sees Jackson. He's like, ah, and runs out.
Crime doesn't pay.
Yeah, but yeah, she's telling Jackson that she heard like um the plan and stuff like that. And what do you think? Do you think that maybe they should have kept her alive longer, or do you think?
No, because again, we have it would have been kind of interesting, but I think it works for the movie that we kill off Sharon. She serves her purpose and she does it really well, but I think the story might have drug if we would have had her a little bit longer. And I think, and again, I enjoy my time with Vanity a little bit more. Like Sharon Stone's good in this, but I enjoy the dynamic between Vanity and Action Jackson. And if you have Sharon Stone, that might be too many females in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, no, no. Again, like you said, it they kill her off, and that again, that's something very reminiscent to Bond movies. You have always have
Yes.
two chicks in a Bond movie. One is either like the mistress of the main bad guy, which Sharon Stone, unfortunately for her, is in this, and like she sleeps with Bond or she flirts with Bond, and she either gets covered in gold paint or fucking fed to fucking piranhas, or in this case just shot in the chest at point blank range.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And
I don't
I
know.
also
It'd be cool if Craig T. Nelson had piranhas. I don't know.
that That would have been cool. And I also like the shot because the audience knows it's coming because she's like telling Craig T. Nelson, but I told him that I didn't think you had anything to do with it. And then she slips up and tells him a little bit more. And we keep going back and forth because Craig T. Nelson has a gun in the back of his waistpants and stuff. And then you see it move, like you see it, and he's going to let her live because he thinks everything. And then she says that little bit extra thing. And then the guns move. I like the shot. I like how, again, this movie kind of goes out of its way to be better than it has any right to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So essentially Robert Davi, before he's killed, tells Jackson about someone who actually knows Delaplane that bit better, and it's the singer Sydney Ash, played by Vanity, and he goes to a nightclub to kind of track her down. And we learn earlier on in the scene that Delaplane has essentially fucking gotten her addicted to kind of some drug. What, heroin?
Heroin, I would assume. The way the needle,
heroin.
Because he has this giant needle, which you like.
I mean, it's fucking comically fucking large. So
it's like a penis.
We were going so well. We were doing so well. Anywho, Vanity.
Well, it is. Tell me that doesn't look phallic, and I'll say I'm sorry, but it does.
No, it fucking doesn't.
It does look phallic.
It's a giant glass syringe.
Could be
for the love of fucking myarchic fuck.
It looks fucking phallic.
Oh, Jesus Christ! It does not look like a penis.
He stabs her with it and injects something into her. Fight me on this, Marty. Fight me on. I'm not trying to be combative, but I think I'm making a very valid point. That fucking needle is fucking phallic, and he's going to shoot her up. Shoot her up. Do I have to stand and like hump the air to get my point across with his drugs? Big bad Craig T. Nelson is going to shoot
hope, for the love of Christ, that you don't develop diabetes, because you're going to have like a very fucking bad encounter at the doctor. What are you doing with that needle, miss?
But it is a cool look. But it's a phallic needle. I mean, you just have to concede to that. It's a phallic looking needle.
It does not look like a phallus in any way, shape, or form. My girlfriend does not have. Jesus Christ. You've got, babe, you've got penis on the brain.
I have your penis on my brain, yes.
Oh, Christ.
I mean, I've never seen it, but I like to imagine it because
Anyway, moving on. Vanity is sitting at the nightclub while Action Jackson is there. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting to it. You can tell she's kind of like, who's this hunk at the front of the fucking bar?
Yeah, she kind of lights up. And I like, again, it's showing because it's just all facial expressions, but you can see she kind of. I mean, who wouldn't? It's Carl Weathers, and it establishes a real chemistry right away, which is smart. I like it, and it feels very genuine. I don't know if they liked each other in real life, but it sure does come across in the movie.
It's it's a cool scene. It's a cool scene. You can kind of see that you can kind of see that there's like a come hither look on her face as she's going over dancing. And she's like, I like this guy. So Jackson needs info from Vanity's character, so he decides to try and go backstage, and she has this huge fucking bodyguard who's actually a fairly nice guy. I mean, Jackson punches him twice, once in the chest, once in the face, and the dude doesn't even fucking knock him across the wall or anything. It's like what did you think of that scene with Jackson trying to
I liked it, and again, we don't go for the cliches because, in a lesser action movie, I think Jackson, even if he was a big guy, I think he would have just, hunked him across. And eventually he does. But I like they establish, and I like the fact, and Carl Weathers is smiling, and then he hits him again and stuff. And he's like, then if I hit you one more time, you're going to throw my scrawny ass across the room. And he goes, I was thinking about it, but it goes against my principles. And it's a very cute exchange of dialogue, and it's very funny. And then the guy kind of later on, I don't want to spoil anything, but later on he helps Jackson, which I like it.
Yeah, again, he's Vanity's bodyguard. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't work for Delaplane. And you can kind of see as well that Jackson's like, yeah, I could arrest this guy or I could shoot this guy. He's just doing his job. So Jackson just essentially fucking American football tackles the dude through the door. And did you see Creepy McGee's? You see Creepy McGee's message there? I can imagine taking a Rorschach test. Also, hello, strange monkey.
Hello, it's nice to see ya.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers, indeed. The man was fantastic. But yeah, he fucking tackles this dude through the door into a table, knocks him out, and Vanity's there about to fucking jab herself in the leg with the needle. And Carl Weathers is like, I take it.
Very phallic needle. Very phallic needle.
It's not phallic, babe.
It is, Marty. It even has the little hole things that, if you look at it, they look like little balls. Like the whole thing, like the tip, the big meat part of it, and then the balls. And he injects her. Well, Marty, fucking, he's injecting her. That's what a penis does: is inject sperm into a woman's vajayjay so she can have a baby, so the race doesn't die out. This is science.
Oh, this is so going into a goddamn Jen clip show, right? Anyway, Jackson is like, look, I think you're in danger. You know something, so I'm gonna take you with me.
And like you pointed out, she just goes with him, and she doesn't really know who the.
She doesn't even ask his name.
No, I mean she's a little high right then, but still, it is a little improbable.
And she's like rubbing him and playing with his ears, and he's like, for fuck's sake. Meanwhile, Delaplane, after killing his girlfriend wife, he's killing his Sharon Stone. He leaves Sharon Stone's body naked in Jackson's apartment with a gunshot wound, and the cops are there, and they're like, oh, we gotta look for Jackson, and Jackson's like, oh fuck, God, Cat, no, Cat Dad, no, don't give her ideas.
Why exactly do you like working with me, darling?
I may need to reevaluate that. I don't know. At this moment in time, I don't know. Fucking glutton for punishment, I suppose. So Jackson's cruising back to his apartment, and he sees all the cops, and he turns on his CV radio in his fucking Cadillac, and they're like,
nice car, by the way.
Yeah, there's an APB out in for Jericho Jackson, and he's like, fuck, I better stash her somewhere. So they go back to her apartment and stuff. And yeah, it's again, it's kind of the cliche thing of the cop being set up for a murder, but they do it in a more interesting kind of way, like than just fucking kind of like say, oh, he's like frame him or get him to kill someone. They essentially plant a body in his apartment and stuff. Although, how bad is the security in a fucking police officer's apartment got to be?
It was the 80s, darling. Look, they broke into Axel Foley's apartment too. So, I mean, it was just a thing.
I suppose.
Also, there's a very sweet moment. I'm jumping just a wee bit ahead, but not too far, because he gets her out, and she's like, I need and it's not really the makeup bag she needs. She wants the phallic needle, but like and stuff. And she's like, oh, I look a mess Shut up, Marty. It is. Anyway, but she wants her fix, right? But she goes, "Oh, I look a mess. I don't have my makeup and stuff." And Carl Withers goes, "No, you look beautiful." And you get the feeling like he didn't mean to say that out loud. And Vanity, and again, like she was still kind of raw behind the ears with the acting thing, but she kind of perks up like a woman would, and she's both flattered and a little embarrassed at the same time. And it's a very sweet scene. I'm a
It is.
romantic.
It's nice. It's like actually, Cat Dad makes a good point.
What is it about the 80s and Cadillacs? Was Pink Cadillac 80s or 90s? Was it late 80s or early 90s?
Maybe it was late 80s.
Actually, Strange Monkey, I was going to leave this for later, but you kind of bring up a good point. Strange Monkey says Carl Weathers should have had more roles as a leading man in action films. Totally agree. He did have another movie in 90 or 91 called Dangerous Something, and it was
in Germany.
Yes, I was going to get to that. They actually called it Action Jackson, even though the movie had nothing to do with Action Jackson.
Not even the same character, but in Germany they just called it Action Jackson 2.
They did, and the thing is the companies did want to make this a franchise, but things happened where they couldn't do it. But they did want to make this a thing, because even though some critics really panned this movie, the audiences loved it. Like the audiences, it has a very strong cult following.
Again, it just sucks that he didn't get kind of more kind of leading man roles. As for the Cadillacs are cool. Fucking Cadillacs. I suppose they're just they weren't as prominent nowadays because they're big fucking gas guzzling behemoths that apparently can't. The Cadillacs can't actually drive that fast, can they?
No, well, I think they can. I don't know cars, Marty. They just look pretty.
Yes, he would have totally helmed the solo action movie. Shame how that went down. Absolutely. Pink Cadillac was 89. Yeah.
So it is. I thought so. I knew it was either late 80s or early 90s. I couldn't remember. Good movie, by the way.
I like fucking versatility wise, Cadillacs, you can't really do can you imagine instead of a DeLorean, fucking Marty McFly traveling through time in a Cadillac, and the soft top roof gets destroyed, and the car comes out, and Doc's just there, and the top half of Marty McFly's head's missing because it got fucking sawn off in the space-time continuum. Hey, DMC.
Hey, DMC. But Marty, you know what Cadillacs are great for? They have a big back seat. But the only thing is your heels will kind of tear up the soft top of the Cadillac.
That's why you keep the soft top down.
Yeah, but if it's cold or rainy, I've heard.
It could be worse. To quote fucking Mallrats, I'm gonna fuck you in the most uncomfortable place ever. Where? The back of a Volkswagen? I'll see you.
I'm okay with that, though.
I don't own a car. I don't own a Volkswagen. We're talking about Action Jackson. No fucking phallic needles. No fucking Cadillac.
You worry it's a phallic needle. I generally never will go against you, but you're wrong on this case. It's a fucking phallic needle. Even has the balls. The little circles look like balls.
They're called plunger handles.
No, they look like balls. They look like little dangly balls. They do, and it injects.
Okay, you just made it glasses. You just compared them to glass. Are you saying glasses look like balls as well?
I think everything looks like phallic or balls.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A Rorschach test would be kind of boring with me if you thought about it. Penis.
Christ. Everything's a penis. What about this penis? Penis. Mount Rushmore. What? No, I mean a penis.
And Cadillac Man wasn't. Yeah, I forgot it. God, I haven't thought of Cadillac Man in forever. And one that Robin Williams doesn't get much talked about. A film of Robin Williams's that don't get too much talked about. I got a great command of the English.
He's got the English. You speak so pretty.
And there was Pink Cadillac from Springsteen.
You got that them there damn mastery of them English words.
I do. I can do kungalinglix. Kungalinglix.
Ah, I'm sorry, baby. I don't know any of them there Hispanic words. Anyway, moving on. So
Before we get canceled.
they decide to hang out. They decide to hide out in the kind of the Roach
Innocuous
Motel.
hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, Roach Motel, kind of owned by Kid Sable,
Mm-hmm.
who is a boxer and of a friend of fucking
Action
uh,
Jackson's.
yeah. So
And I like the little joke because Action Jackson's telling him who she was or who it was and stuff. And there's like two great boxers, Joe Lewis and Sable. And she goes, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Lewis." And the guy goes, "Oh, she's a fighting fan, isn't she?" I thought that was cute. That's actually how I learned about Joe Lewis was through Action Jackson because I was just a kid at the time and I had no interest in sports. And I made me look him up.
but yeah, it's again, it's interesting because, like, all those movies there, you'd have a character kind of rent out this kind of posh hotel or something like that, but he's like, no, this is the safest place for
I know. And the little TV on the stand, God, it takes me back. That takes me back to, you had to be there. I'm old. God, I'm old.
You're not. But no, essentially then he goes off to investigate who's the other person he's looking for. He has to go to a bar to try and find someone.
Papadopoulos.
Yeah, explain that
With the
scene, Jenny,
penis.
because
Now that is a penis. You can't get mad at me. It's a plot point. It's his balls in the jar.
go on, I'll let you take it away. So
So he's looking for Action Jackson has to go to this kind of seedy pool hall and he's asking for Papadopoulos and like these guys. And again, very fun characters. They're just little side characters and stuff. And they're like, and what does the one guy say? "Don't diss me, man. Don't diss me," and stuff. And Action Jackson's about to get his ass kicked. And one of the guys literally has a ball for the pool. What do you call those balls? The pool balls.
yeah,
Yeah, pool balls in his hand. And he's like, "Follow the bouncing ball." And then they're going to say, "We're going to do the same thing to you." And they have Papadopoulos's, member in a jar, which I like. Anytime a movie places a random dick in a jar, I'm here for it. It just doesn't have to be pornos. Mainstream movies should take a cue from this. And it's Vanity, even though she's a junkie, she's the one that comes and she's kind of going through withdrawals and she comes in and saves him. And again, it's weirdly sweet. An action movie from the 80s with one of its main characters is kind of a person who has trouble with drugs. It's still very sweet and kind of wholesome.
yeah, it is bizarre because usually they'd kind of white knight it and have him save her the whole time. But she gets it. She's like, "Oh, that's my fucking simple brother. He's found Jesus,"
Bellevue.
which is ironic considering both Vanity had to deal with drug addiction and
Mm-hmm.
found God. So, like,
Well, this movie does add Carl Weathers was really a football guy in real life. He played for a thing, and his character did football too. There's a lot of parallels. Art imitates life, or life imitates art, however you want to do it. But I also really love. This is one of those things you got to give it up to Carl Weathers because, and I like how Vanity's kind of like slyly winking at him, like, get the hint. He's crazy. He's evangelical, and he goes, "Yes, say praise the Lord," and he really goes into that Bible thumper mode, and it's fucking awesome.
it's pretty cool. It's just funny seeing kind of he's more diverse and he's
Mm-hmm.
more kind of
He's very animated in this
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
which I like, and he really you could, if it was a different movie, he would have been a great holy roller kind of movie. He could have done that really well. He did do
but
that really well.
but after all that, it turns out that Kid Sable actually knows where
Yeah. And he's like, I could have saved you some time. And he has that voice, that kind of froggy voice, which just adds something to the picture.
Um, he tells him that there's a barber, there's a hairdresser that knows uh,
Beautician.
yeah, beautician that knows stuff. And I was kind of like, I don't get this, but as you pointed out, beauticians and hairdressers and stuff here gossip.
Yeah, I thought it was actually kind of cute, and it's kind of a play, you know, like they do hear all the gossip. So why wouldn't they know about murders and where bodies are buried and things? And they love to talk. And the I don't know the actress. She's familiar. I think she's a character actress, but I like it. And she's just happily doing her thing while spilling all the tea. It's a really cute. Again, this movie is way better than it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fun as well. She's just there smoking her cigar, like fucking. It's like, oh,
And
I
she
owe
has
you.
wee energy. Like she's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of bopping.
We also, I forgot to mention the chase sequence before Sharon Stone died. One of Delaplane's men tries to kill her and Jackson, and that's the scene with the fucking taxi in the propane tank. And Jackson decides to play chicken with the fucking car and jumps over it.
Yes, that's so awesome. Did he do his own stunts? Do you know if he did his own stunts?
Jen, he did not jump over that fucking car, okay?
It was like don't ruin my like 7, 8, 5 year old like thing of wow that because I'm like wow that guy jumped over a car and did a spin and I mean people it could happen. Carl Weathers could have done that if he wanted to. Carl Weathers could have done anything because he was fucking Carl Weathers.
Maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, they would have been in trouble if Carl Weathers got pancaked by the fucking car. But
He wouldn't have. Those abs couldn't have. Those abs would have it would have been like a mother lifting a baby off the car, or the car off the baby. However that works, those abs would have been just like, get off me, car. I'm fucking on Carl Withers, and I'm abs
wait,
of
hold
steel.
on a minute now. Hold on a minute now. Why would there be a car on top of a baby?
Because the abs would be like the equivalent of a mother lifting. I guess that's a better way to say it. I didn't say it right the first time. It would have been like an equivalent. The chat follows me.
Jen, who in the name of fuck over in the United States is running over babies with cars?
It's happened. It's fucking happened. And there's been documented cases of mothers lifting up the fucking cars off their
babe.
kids.
Babe, I've no problem with the mother in an emotional state, kind of harnessing primal energy. But who's the fucker that rolls over a baby with a car to begin with?
It happens. But you're missing my point, darling. But the abs are the equivalent of a mother. But the abs would have been like, I'm abs.
No. I don't care about the abs. What sick fuck is trying to run over a baby with a car?
I mean, I didn't say they were deliberately doing it, but babies crawl out of houses. There's always these herds of runaway babies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And babies, then not all of them, some of them start out really bad. So they go, I'm going to go get the crack, and they have to crawl, and they don't know anything about traffic safety. Doesn't happen in Ireland.
No, we tend not to roll over our babies with cars. We keep them inside in cots and prams and shit like that.
Wait, you've seen Boys in the Hood, where the little girl's out in the street. She's more of a toddler, but still. See, fucking a movie saved my ass. See, Boys in the Hood, where she says, I'll suck your dick. And yay me, I brought up another penis, movie penis. Yay! And I made a point.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So anyway, Jackson comes back to find Vanity gone. And she asks, is there any pushers? He asks Kid Sable, is there any pushers in the apartment? And Sable's like, I run a clean establishment. He's like, oh, room 506. And
who's that actor that's playing the drug dealer? Because I know I've recognized him.
It's Sonny Landham from Predator again.
Yeah,
it's another Predator reunion. It's Billy from Predator. And
he always kind of play scumbags? Because I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and he usually
He
always
was in 48 Hours as well as a
he
character called
was.
Billy Bear.
And wasn't he in a Con Air as well, or am I wrong?
No, he
Yeah,
wasn't in Con Air. He was
thought he
in.
was.
He was a bad guy in a couple of things. On the set of Predator, he had to have a bodyguard, not for him, but for other people because he had a bit of anger issue and he would beat the shit out of you if you looked
Oh,
at him
really?
wrong. So yeah, so they had to hire a bodyguard to protect everyone else from him. So, but
I believe it. The rage
he,
really works.
he pulls a knife out, and Vanity's like, "Oh, you just pulled the wrong shit with Action Jackson." And he's like, "Oh, this fucking dude's Action Jackson." All right.
It's gonna be easier than I thought. And I love the scene. I just like the way it's shot where he sticks the needle in his arm and the guy just laughs. It's I don't know, it's cool. It's badass.
Fucking your man starts fucking riding up like Popeye or something. And then Jackson's like, "Oh shit." But no, Jackson throws him out a window, not into the alleyway, but out one window and into another window of a corresponding apartment building. And that's how the cops spot him.
And they're like, Jackson. And then they're like, why are we, aren't you, I like how Vanity, again, kind of, she's still out of it a bit. And she's like, aren't you a cop? Why are we running from the cops?
Oh, because I'm wanted for murder. And she, damn it, damn you.
She sort of has Jen energy if I didn't do heroin, huh? Oh shit, I'm like a person on heroin who doesn't do heroin but still asks questions of someone who would be on heroin. Wow, I learned something about myself.
What's that big factory across the fucking road from you produce again? It's not, there's not fucking
The
pharmaceutical
refinery, it does like gas and stuff. Yeah, oil.
and meth. They're just
No, meth is the fucking IHOP, which is right across from the refinery, actually. I shit you not, darling.
just to verify, Jen is not promoting or condoning or indeed advertising where to pick up meth in her hometown.
It's the back lot of IHOP.
Fuck's sake. Well, at least she didn't say what city or town it is.
It's New Mexico.
Don't fucking say it. Don't fucking say it. You're gonna end up with some fucking Colombians or something turning up the house.
Hey, I'm helping their business. Really, they should thank me.
We had our entire product distribution destroyed by the cops watching your video. What? Jesus Christ. Hey, didn't you want to take me to IHOP at one stage?
That was Christian, not me.
Okay. The fuck is Christian planning? Anyway, so Jackson gets Vanity to fucking honey trap this dude who says, "Oh yeah, look, the Delaplane's plan is to kill the head of the union and replace him with me, so we can kind of control the city." Even and all, hey, TYTD. And
hey, welcome.
Jackson's like, okay, well, we're going to stop it. But before he can, fucking Delaplane's fucking Cobra commanders turn up and capture Jackson.
Yeah, and very cool, Marty. Like the helicopter scene with the one with the tooth. He's got the helicopter, and it's badass looking. No, I don't know how practical it is with the gun. You know, scene I'm talking about with the gun, and he's in the helicopter, and he's gonna boom.
There's a helicopter fucking pans into view. It banks into view. And one of the dudes in the side of the helicopter has a sniper rifle.
That's what I said. That is what I said.
Okay,
I review movies on the internet.
Okay. Do you know what? You can review this scene, so work away.
Okay, so like he's standing there in the helicopter and he's gonna shoot Action Jackson, and then like they also have like all the henchmen and the guy with the blonde hair, like the wig that bothered you so much. It's a cool scene and stuff, but I mean, guys, can you really shoot a gun from a moving helicopter? I mean,
Yes,
it stops, but
yes, you can. Ye fuckers done it in Vietnam to peasants for fucking 10 fucking years.
I wasn't there, so how would I know? You mean that war with them in the black pajamas? Is that the one you're talking
Oh, I'm getting so fucking cancelled. You fucking killed me.
You better steer the car, darling, before you get your channel taken down.
Fucking Jesus. Fuck Christ. Oh. Oh. Okay. I can just see Jen do the fucking history test. Who did the Americans fight in Indochina in the late 60s, early 70s? Them folks in the black pajamas.
Anyway, so tell us, and he's got a gap in his tooth. He's got a big old gap, and he's got sunglasses.
What are you doing? You're jumping. Right, okay. Okay, right. Jericho Jackson is captured by Craig T. Nelson and his bad guys. And Craig T. Nelson does the bad guy thing, of course, and explains his plan. And his plan is to frame Jackson.
Very much Bond. Very much a Bond thing.
Yeah, very much Bond. To frame Jackson for the assassination of the head of the Detroit Union of Auto Workers. And Jackson's like, oh, you trying to like be senator and then be president? He's like, no. I prefer working behind the scenes because, you know, the best power is always done from the shadows. And he's like, oh yeah, and we're going to frame you because my associate here, Mr. Gamble, is going to shoot the head of the auto union or something like that. And he goes, oh, but yeah, don't worry, my friends, my white high society friends, can't really tell the difference. And it's like, oh, racist.
And they don't really look that much alike either. And the dude seems a little older than Action Jackson.
But he's wearing his red shirt.
Yeah, but even I was like, wow, that's a little insensitive, and it was me saying this, and if Jen goes, whoa, dude, then you've probably gone too far. I'm kind of that
as was illustrated 5 minutes ago when she referred to an entire nation as them folks who wear the pajamas.
Black pajamas, thank you very much.
Fuck's sake. Aye. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Anywho, right. So
do we still have anyone watching, darling? Or
we have 4 people. They're probably like, I want to see what this crazy bitch says next. I don't know if any of our audience are smokers. I don't know why I did that.
They might start now. Yeah, but yeah, and stuff in the red shirt, and why does Craig T. Nelson? I mean, I know it's a Bond thing, but why does he explain his plan?
Because he wants to rub it in Jackson's face. Because Jackson, basically cost him the heir to his empire, which was his son.
Yeah,
and he even says, "Oh, it was a tragedy. I had to kill my my wife and." This person, my son's going to have an accident in prison. It's like, the fuck? Because he obviously wants to be senator and he can't have a son who is like a fucking sexual predator in prison. So,
And then there's a scene where, he's doing he's doing that thing and he breaks the dude's arm just to show again, if you haven't got it, Craig T. Nelson is evil.
He is. He's evil. I think that scene was just more to show as well that he was proficient in hand to hand, and that kind of.
So am I.
It's yeah. So much for touching tribute to Carl Weathers. Uh,
No, it is. I'm not. But I didn't mean for it to go in this direction. It just kind of happened. I think Carl Weathers would be okay with it, honestly.
so Jackson is about to be roasted alive because Craig T. Nelson plans on essentially using his burnt corpse as the smoking gun to the
Literally.
head of the auto unions. Creepy McGee says, "I feel he would." Uh,
See?
but so they're about to burn Carl Weathers alive,
Mm-hmm.
and Vanity's bodyguard just shows up out of nowhere and
Yeah, I was
saves
going
him.
to ask you. They don't really, like, give an explanation, huh?
I guess he was looking for his kind of fucking, what's the term for someone who you bodyguard or you guard or
Bodyguard.
no, the person you look after. What's the term? Charge. Yeah, your
Oh,
charge. So so he jumps out of nowhere and helps Carl Weathers defeat the bad guys. One of whom one of whom he sets on fire. The guy with the bad wig he sets on fire with the
mm-hmm.
kind of the weird acetylene torch that has a can of gas,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets the grenade launcher off the other guy, and is like, "Oh, barbecue!" You're saying, "How about them ribs?" And he shoots him with the fucking phosphorus launcher as well.
And then we transition to people eating ribs. I get it.
It's a good transition.
It is.
So Jackson has infiltrated the party. Obviously, Craig T. Nelson isn't expecting Jackson to have survived, so he doesn't notice not only Jackson, but again, when did Jackson hook up with the comic relief? And how come the guy didn't faint?
Because we don't need him to right now. Now we need to be serious. And Jackson does. I love the quip he does. Why aren't you using your friend? Because he's dead. The kid asks, well, why aren't you using your other friend? Because he's dead.
And Jackson's brought some other friends along. He's brought around Kid Sable and Vanity's bodyguard, and they're kind of schmoozing and stuff. And
his partner's at the party too. His
yeah, his ex-partner. Yeah,
yeah.
he's there as well. And he kind of sees Jackson. They're like, "Oh, is he on the take? Is he good? Is he evil? Is he going to screw him over?" So Mr. Gamble, disguised as Jackson, is about to take his shot, and it's kind of confusing because the kind of urchin kid goes running up, and I thought he was going to push the guy out of the way, but the dude still
too.
gets fucking shot, but just in the arm, I think. And Jackson pulls Christmas lights out and knocks the guy out of
Chinese lanterns. They're like party lanterns, and he just it's a cool look. And then you can see him kind of popping or whatever as he's going down the thingamajig.
and he lands on a gate and is impaled. Um, Meanwhile, the dude that Delaplane was going to replace him with, he's like, oh no, and one of the bad guys for some reason just fucking throws a knife into the dude's chest. It's like, dude, this cannot still be pinned to you. You don't have to fucking kind of, go scorched earth just yet. You can be like, Jesus Christ, there was some assassination. The minute that happens, it's like Craig T. Nelson's like, fuel the chopper. It's like, no one's pointed fingers yet.
I guess it's just kind of a cool, especially for the 80s, it's just kind of a cool bad guy line to say, get the chopper, fuel the chopper. I feel like Schwarzenegger has said this sometimes.
No, Schwarzenegger said, get to the chopper.
That thing, yeah.
But it's weird as well because you get kind of different kind of little confrontations between people because like Kid Sable ends up fighting Al Leon, the guy, the kind of Asian henchman in Die Hard. He plays the kind of another kind of side, and he's like, he gets punched out and he's doing all this fucking fancy martial arts, and Kid Sable starts jiving with his feet and stuff and then punches him. He pulls out a fucking knife, and then fucking is it Jackson's old partner like pulls out a gun and shoots him. He goes, "You're Kid Sable, you were great." And it's like, what is going on here? What
This
is
is
going
where we start to go off the rails. Just although we're not completely, we're gonna go to more off the rails in a
Oh,
second.
someone tears the fucking rails off in this movie, in the scene coming up. So,
And Vanity's like at the window, and she's like, Jackson. She's literally a maiden in the window, screaming in distress for our hero, Jackson. I like it. I'm here for it.
and I remember because I'd seen this film a long time ago, and I had forgotten. I remember Jackson ends up confronting Craig T. Nelson after he crashes a car into a room, and the scene I was like, wait, Vanity's on the second floor. Jackson's just drove a fucking Ferrari into the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
how
cool.
how the wait, maybe to go downstairs? Maybe that's what happened. No,
No.
no, Jackson drives a Ferrari, kills the butler, then drives up fucking stairs in the Ferrari.
But Marty, they're rich people mansion stairs, so I imagine they're like super sturdy. They're rich people mansion stairs.
It's wooden.
I buy it. Like, I know it bothered you, and I didn't quite get why, because maybe they're cement rich people mansion stairs, and like cement could handle the car, right?
Maybe, I suppose, but Jesus.
And it looks cool. I mean, a big fancy car driving, going vroom vroom vroom. I mean, that's fucking cool.
How big were the fucking hallways or corridors in that room as well? In that
Well,
mansion?
they're rich people mansion, so I imagine pretty fucking big. I
Big
mean,
enough
to
to
put
drive a
it in a
fucking sports
vagina
car through.
sense, that vagina hallway probably saw a lot of dick to widen it.
Aye.
I couldn't help it. It's February, you know. I got all the fucking hormones coursing through me.
So Jackson drives the car through the room, saving Vanity from being given a fucking lethal dose of heroin, and he confronts Craig T. Nelson. And this is a scene that bothered you, actually.
And yeah, it
Not the
was
car
because
driving upstairs, not even the car going through the hall upstairs.
because it's rich people stairs, so of course it's gonna be better than like if it was a regular home because it's rich people.
Whatever about the fucking stairs, whatever about the stairs. What was going to keep the fucking car up on the second floor?
Well, like rich people concrete flooring, like it's fancier than normal stuff, so it's got more things.
A
Fuck
whole
you.
fucking car.
Because, like, no, rich people have, like, a lot of statues in their houses, and statues are fucking heavy. So, like, yeah. They like a lot of naked people statues. Especially in the 80s. They loved having naked people, rich people statues. That's how to say, hey, we're fucking rich. We have all these naked statues in our house, and our floors are way better because they have to hold all these statues.
I'm just thinking of a fucking episode of Downtown Abbey where like Maggie Smith is just walking across all these big titty statues.
But
Jeeves, please, please, please fucking polish the Venus de Milo's genitalia. It's getting rather dusty.
Nobody wants dusty genitalia because it gives you a dry cough. anyway, the thing that was really fantastic. The thing that was super fantastical to me is okay. So Craig T. Nelson is gonna kill Vanity. He's all for it. He's gonna get the phallic fucking needle and inject her with a lethal dose, as phallic needles tend to give you. And then like they do
It's
this.
not phallic. It's not phallic.
They do this I'm ignoring you on this. They do this male macho kind of thing, and they do like, come on, motherfucker, let's handle this like men instead of with these pussy guns. So he just throws Vanity aside. He still could have killed her.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And that's what bothers me. Like, why didn't Craig T. Nelson inject her with his hot lethal dose with his very phallic needle? Like, why didn't he do that, Marty? He could have still fought Action Jackson, but why didn't he fucking, pump her up with his load, with his hot load? See, you can't defend it. You see the train a coming, and you're like, Jesus Christ, it makes sense.
I see the train coming, and I would put my head in the fucking tracks.
But Marty, didn't it bother you that he didn't inject her with his hot load?
So anyway, Jackson decides to fight Craig T. Nelson.
No, Marty, no. Doesn't it bother you? Because, why didn't he kill her? I mean, I get why, because she has to give that turkey line, which was kind of hot. Like, you wouldn't think a turkey line at the end of the movie would be fucking hot. But the way Vanity delivers it, cold turkey, and then it kind of makes your nipples tingle a little bit the way she delivers it. Your genitalia wouldn't be dusty if you heard that line.
So Jackson fights Craig T. Nelson. Nelson kicks the shit out of Jackson until, for some reason, he ends up getting fucking charged up. He's like, "Now you're pissing me off," and he beats the living shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh shit, he's got a gun," and Jackson gets his small little fucking Walter PPK again. I think they're trying to do a whole James Bond thing, and fucking shoots Craig T. Nelson.
And Craig T. Nelson shoots him too. It's kind of a double thing. And he gets shot in the arm too.
Yeah, well, Craig T. Nelson gets shot in the chest.
He does, but Action Jackson gets shot. This movie loves shooting our heroes in the arm. They love giving them a shot in the arm. See what I did there? See what I...
Now you decide to use tempered jokes. Anyway, whatever caliber that small handgun is, it somehow blows the fucking back out of Craig T. Nelson.
It looks cool. I'm okay if it looks cool. Marty, I've discovered something doing the show with you. Like, for me, I'm not a stickler. Like, if it looks cool, and there's, different heights and different ages and stuff, it don't bother me. If the gun's not right, but it looks cool, I'm okay with it. I've discovered you're much more of a stickler than I am. It's just interesting.
So what happens next, Jen? Since you want to do this review, work away. Do you know what? For the last few minutes, I'm going to let Jen review.
Drive the car. Okay. So, Marty, don't go away. I don't want you to. We're doing it together. I'm just injecting. I don't have a big phallic needle, but I'd love to inject you.
Fuck you.
So the ending, we get a really happy ending where Vanity says she's going to go cold turkey. And then she goes, "You can have me after Thanksgiving." And then Action Jackson says, "Or sooner." And then they kiss, and then you get the theme song again. And it implies that Vanity's going to go on the straight and narrow and not do no more drugs. So she's gonna throw away her phallic needle. She's going to, not that needle has injected her with the last hot shot. You said you wanted me to do this. This is your fault, Marty.
Go on.
So, and that's the credits roll, and we get a cool song, and And it does, like, we could have gone with the more Adventures of Action Jackson, because like I said, the studio did have plans to make a sequel, not the one that they tagged the actual Action Jackson 2 on, but an actual proper sequel. But things happened, and it just, and then the rights got sold, and it just languished. And it's a shame. And I like this one because, like you said, everyone's great in it, but Carl Withers is what makes this movie magic. He really does. He has charisma. There's some sweet scenes. Well, I think the thing that strikes me is we see kind of a sweet side to him. Like in The Predator, he was a little bit more of a badass. And in this, we see a little bit of genuine sweetness and a little bit of funness to it, which I think makes it work. And even though this movie isn't a beloved movie, it does have a cult following, and you can see why. And I just think it's a shame more people don't talk about it.
I hope at least with Weathers passing that more people
Find it.
Yeah. I would have been up for a sequel too as well, Creepy McGee.
I would have too. I would have too. But again, it makes you more sad that the world, the world lost him, because he could do a little. And this movie kind of showcases everything, like not just we kind of at that time just saw him more as an action guy, but this movie showed his comedic timing. It showed kind of a gentleness. It showed charisma. It showed romantic leading man. It kind of showed. It was very,
It proved that Weathers could helm a vehicle,
yes,
a leading role in an action vehicle, or
and do it very well, and not
yeah,
just just do it really flawlessly. And like I said, I'm not, I hope I'm not coming across like I'm shitting on Vanity, but there is some scenes where she's a little wooden, and I think Weathers really does kind of help her performance and stuff like that, and they do
yeah,
have good chemistry together and stuff.
yeah.
She's not bad in it at all, but you can tell there's a few places where she's a little bit of a rookie.
You can't give her too much shit, because again,
No,
first and foremost, she's a musician.
yeah,
But for a musician starting
she
off,
didn't do bad.
no, she didn't. She didn't. She didn't. Um, Again, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out. It's
Yeah.
brilliant, and it's
Check
again,
out
it's
all of his work. Check out all of
yeah.
his work.
Be it Predator, which I love, or not Little. What's
Yeah,
that?
he did a voice. He also did He did a voice in 8 Crazy Nights, and my favorite, Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. That's the Sandler movie. Happy Gilmore. Obviously, Apollo Creed.
Yes.
Um, he provided the voice for Dylan as well in the Mortal Kombat game. You
Yeah.
could get him as a skin for Jax in Mortal Kombat X, I
Mhm.
think, and
I believe he
he
did a
was
lot of voice work.
yeah
I
he
believe
was in another video game called Mercenaries, and he also voiced Combat Carl in Toy Story 4, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
You're right. I read that and I'd forgotten it. I'm glad you brought that up. And from all I've heard, he was a pretty fun, nice guy too. Like in real life, he was an actual pretty cool dude.
He wasn't afraid to make fun of himself as well, because if you've ever seen a TV show called Arrested Development, he
Mhm.
turns up, and there was a kind of rumor that he was incredibly kind of cheap or skimpy with stuff, and he's like, if you save enough of these chicken bones, you can make soup. And one of the characters is eating chicken, and he's about to you want to throw away that bone? Just takes it and puts it in his pocket. And he was also, not only did he play Griff Karga in The Mandalorian, he directed a couple episodes as well.
Yeah, he did. Again, I think it's a shame that we don't really celebrate till you're gone, and he definitely had a lot of work to celebrate. And like I said, from what I've heard, he was a pretty nice guy overall.
Yeah, so it sucks. It sucks that we lost him, but at least he's kind of immortalized thanks to cinema.
Hmm.
He did. Creepy Mickey says he did a hilarious SNL skit where he was running for governor, or vote for
Vote
me,
for me.
or the
Yeah,
other guy from Predator.
Predator. Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah,
And
no.
he has a sense of humor about himself, which I think the best people always do.
But yeah, guys.
Is it a
I
trash fire, Marty? Is it a trash fire? I don't think
No,
so.
no,
No,
no. It's not. It's not.
no.
It's about on par, if not a wee bit over, sophistication of Commando. Commando's
Mhm.
still fun, but this one's maybe a bit more clever, just a
Mhm.
smidge more clever than
And a
Commando.
bit more restrained, a little more restrained
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Commando.
a little more restrained. Not by much. I mean, that sports car going up fucking stairs, Jen. Uh,
But it's for rich people. I don't think you get rich people house. I would agree. I'd agree that it's an underrated 80s gem, Horror Cat Dead. I would totally agree with that. I
yeah,
think so too. And I think it's a shame. That's why I think we could have picked a lot of movies from his filmography, but I think we picked this one because we feel it is underrated.
no, not it's not a trash
No,
fire. It's just
it's not.
no.
We
But
just
yeah,
wanted to celebrate and honor, even
yeah,
with the phallic jokes.
that needle wasn't phallic.
Fuck you, Marty. It was. It had the balls and
I
everything. It's
really like. Okay, ma'am, here's your diabetes kit. Take it home with you. I gotta call Marty. Oh,
I would. You know I would.
Jesus Christ.
Marty and Jeff. Oh, I hope I do get diabetes, and I can every day go run up and
I,
kind of rub up against you. Go inject me, babe. Inject me with your
Your
hot,
Honor, Your
loving
Honor, the state would
serum.
like to prosecute Martin Green for genital mutilation of his girlfriend.
Ooh. Oh, you could put it in my genital. Ooh. We'll talk later. Yay. It ain't even Valentine's yet, darling. Is anyone still watching?
5 people.
Whoa. Well, at least we're talking about my genitalia tonight. It's kind of new. Usually it's always about your genitalia. I am a liberated woman.
God rest you, Carl Weathers. I'm sorry. This is what the conversation we send you off in.
R.I.P.
I like that as well. I mean, TYTD says that's one way to spend Valentine's.
And Creepy says 5 twisted people.
God damn.
Well, before we go, no, in all kidding, I hope wherever he is, he's happy and proud because he did leave a nice legacy with his movies, and that is the one nice, wonderful thing about film. They're gone, but at least we always capture a piece of them that's never going to be gone. So
Yeah.
it is nice. Before we go, what is the Trash Picture Show up to?
I got a quick room tour video which I put out
Yes.
because I had people asking. I didn't decide to narrate it because you guys have to listen to me talking about fucking toys 24/7. But yeah, I it's there if anyone wants to check it out. What about yourself, babe?
I just read Creepy. Good Lord, Gentleman has died. I mean it in the most loving way. As for what I'm doing,
Creepy. It's you should hear what she says, what she plans on doing with my fucking corpse. So
I gotta send you that laminate. No, and it's my corpse. If I die, Marty gets a laminated card that says it's okay if he necrophiles me because because what?
anywho,
To say what I didn't get to say what I was doing next. But I gotta get that card, and especially gotta laminate it so if my juices get on it, it won't get the card. Okay, I'll be good. So, yeah, they do have a card for that. But if you've noticed, there hasn't been a lot of videos and stuff on the channel, and that's not because we're lazy. It's just because my mother has injured her leg, and I have been doing a lot, and we just haven't had time. But hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, things will get back to normal, and hopefully, we'll be able to do 1 or 2 videos. I'm planning on doing a solo review sometime in the near future. And Christian and I want to keep doing Tales from the Crypt, but things might be for a couple of weeks, might be very spotty on the channel. But I am planning to do some things with Mr. Green.
You're not getting that card laminated. Anyway, um, also, guys, because we feel bad, DMC, if you're still watching, we still intend on doing Butt Boy. It's just things transpired, and we will get around to doing it. We haven't forgotten you.
No, we have it. We have it. And then we still got to figure out what we're going to do for our special Trashfire Valentine's show. Yay!
Still waiting for Kids in the Hall to school. We will
We
do
will,
that, and we'll
we
get
will
some
do
other
that.
people as well. We need to do that fairly soon.
Creepy McGee said that they loved your thing, your tour.
Oh yeah.
Nerdgasm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nerdgasm. Nerdgasm. But this was fun.
It
Wasn't
was
this?
fun, and I don't know if it was a fitting tribute for poor Carl Weathers, but it was a tribute nonetheless,
It
and we're
was
going to
fun
miss
with
him.
a lot of love.
If you say from a giant phallic fucking needle, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Well, it was.
Oh Jesus.
I mean, except for that pointy part, I could totally get my mouth all around.
Okay, right. Where's that mute button gone? For the love of Jesus Christ.
We sold TYTD on Action Jackson. Thank you.
Definitely check it out, dude. Definitely check it out.
It
So
is.
with that, we're going to end it here. But be sure to check out Jen's channel and whatever reviews she has coming up. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks to Creepy McGee, Horror Cat Dad, TYTD, DMC was in. Did I miss anyone?
Strange Monkey. Strange Monkey was in
Strange
too.
Monkey was in. Big thanks to everyone who came in. Kubrick Lover, Brian Kubrick Lover was in.
And
Big
whoever else was in like an overcoat, you know, stroking their big giant phallic needle while they're watching.
It's not phallic. It's not
It's a
phallic.
phallic. And remember, this is February, and February starts with F, which is also phallic.
So anyway, guys, thanks a million for tuning in, because you know it's great. Like, you know, when you you know it's great to chat to people and talk to like-minded people, especially when you have someone who's on the same kind of, you know, working with Jen is such a treasure and a joy, because we we understand each other on a primordial level, and like, you know, it's great to be able to communicate, because if you communicate, you can, you know, you can unlock the potential of your relationship. So with that, I'm going to end it here. So say goodbye, babe.
Penis. It's phallic. It's February. It's penis. Stroke your phallic penis.
So yeah, with that, everyone have a lovely day. Okay, bye now.
Penis.
Bye.
Phallic.